It's Tuesday on Morning Drive, where the first World Golf Championship event of the year takes to Mexico City. This move is prompting more than just additional travel in the spring swing. Tim Rosefort delivers a two-part feature on what prompted the change and how there's serious potential to grow the game south of the border. Someone who will be there, Henrik Stenson, the fifth-ranked player in the world. He's got some sneaky ways he gets all that distance off the tee. Hint, it's all about the lower body, and Travis Fulton's going to show you how to pull it off and increase your yardage by mimicking the same move. Stats are important off the tee, but also when it comes to your health. And today, it's the last day of Heart Health Month. Coming up, we take a look back at Jason Bone's on-course scare last year. And Dr. Ara is in studio to show you the numbers you have got to know about your heart. A full round is ahead of you as Morning Drive starts now.
Welcome into Morning Drive. Fat Tuesday, February the 28th, year 2017. This is Studio AP, Damon Hack, alongside our LPJ veteran, Paige McKenzie, the rest of the gang in just a bit. Fat Tuesday, Shrove Tuesday, Pancake Day. You've spent some time in New Orleans, Paige.
Just recently, only about a month ago. I actually got all the hot tips from my Uber driver, but unfortunately, I was pregnant, so I didn't get to really enjoy the city the way that I know a lot of people today are going to be.
Bourbon Street and babies do not mix. Fat Tuesday undoubtedly trending on Twitter. But what's trending in the game of golf? Lauren Thompson, good morning.
Well, first of all, I've never been to New Orleans either, so maybe Paige and I, after the babies are born, need to take a little trip. I like that idea. Let's move into what's trending right now in the game of golf. Kicking things off with Rory McIlroy. He's about to make his first official start in 6 weeks since a rib injury that began the same week as a runner-up finish in South Africa. The third-ranked player in the world, he is one of 16 major champs in the mix as part of a 77-player field for the WGC Mexico Championship. But for now, let's welcome in Cara Robinson and a special guest into Studio AP. Cara, this was part of Rory McIlroy's warm-up leading up to this. Let's take it inside.
Yeah, it sure was, Lauren. We're joined by our Golf Channel insider, Tim Rosefort. Good morning, Rosie.
Morning, Cara.
Happy Shrove Tuesday, I would say, not Fat Tuesday.
No, we're not going Fat Tuesday.
You eat pancakes today on my side of the world. Let's speak a little bit more about Rory McIlroy. Of course, he's going to be teeing it up this week, but he did play in the Seminole Pro Member yesterday. You were there. How did he do?
Well, it was a dress rehearsal, and by all accounts, he did quite well. Talked to Smiley Kaufman, who was his playing partner in his group, along with his father, Jerry, as well, by the way. Jerry McIlroy, a member at Seminole now, and Kaufman told me Rory was smoking the driver. I saw him hit this tee ball off of one. It's a hard dog leg right. He took it high draw, effortless, just laid it up right in front of the green at 10, which was playing downwind about 430. He hit it 382 yards, just chipped it on and made the putt for birdie. He made 6 birdies yesterday. John Pinkham, who was his partner in the competition itself, he's a member down there, talked about how comfortable Rory looked, how supple he looked, and that's what I saw too. He definitely had a little bit of spring in his step. You could tell how much he'd been missing the game.
I wondered why he didn't perhaps return last week at the Honda Classic. It's a home game for him, and it would have meant that he would have got a tournament start under his belt before going to a World Golf Championship event.
Well, he just wanted to, he could have pushed through. He's admitted that and played last week, but he really didn't want to take that type of chance. They've been on a systematic program since this thing cropped up, the stress fracture of the rib in Dubai. And so with him and Steve McGregor, his sports doctor, and Michael Bannon, his swing coach, this whole process started when Rory basically couldn't even pick up his suitcase in Dubai to where they were yesterday, like I said, smashing driver. But the last 3 weeks they've been in base camp down at the Bears Club, 2-a-days, training in the morning, in the afternoon. Obviously not squats and deadlifts, but you know, the type of stuff that gets them ready to come back to play. They didn't want to push it too hard. And a lot of chipping and putting, which is a good byproduct of this, because he said yesterday to Bob Ford, who's the pro down there, how improved the short game is. How it's the best it's been in a long, long time. And so chipping and putting should be very sharp. And what we saw yesterday, basically, is that it looks like the old Roars with the driver in his hand.
Oh, good news. It could be a fascinating week down in Mexico. I know that you've got a couple of features coming up in the show today that explains just why the PGA Tour has decided to go there. They're going to be must-watch TV. I've seen them.
It's not as Trump-related as you may think. It's more so Trump's and how big he was as a host that led to the tour having a hard time re-signing Cadillac. And the byproduct of that is ultimately there was an opening in a spot through some business connections that led the tournament down to Mexico. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But having been down there, it's an interesting concept of what they're trying to pull off here. And it could lead ultimately to some growth in Mexico in that Latin American corridor that's so vital right now to the game of golf.
Alrighty, yeah, Rosie's done some fascinating reporting. He's got 2 pieces coming up on the show today that you will not want to miss, LT.
Yes, they are definitely must-watches, but let's keep it moving on to the LPGA Tour and the HSBC Women's Champions. It is the 10th edition of the tournament, and a very strong field will make a good showing in Singapore. Nearly all of the top 20 players in the Rolex rankings, including Lydia Ko, Ari Jutanigarn, and Lexi Thompson, will be there as Hana Zhang defends her 4-stroke victory from last year. But for now, let's turn it over to Damon Hack. And Damon, it is a beautiful place to compete.
LT, beautiful and warm. Let's go back to last year, tell you how Hana Zhang got it done on Sentosa Island in Singapore. Starting with the first hole, Paige, putting for birdie.
Yeah, and carrying the lead into this event, or into this round, I had a 1-shot lead over Pornanong Patlam. And this is something we've seen a lot of in her putting. You'll notice if we show another putting stroke, the release on her right hand is beautiful.
Extending her lead to 13 under. Here's Zhang in the bunker at the par 5/7.
Yeah, and just great touch around these greens. If you haven't played in Asia, the course maintenance that the women play on week in and week out when they head to the Asian swing is just tremendous.
Strong touch all over this golf course. How about the 13th hole? This putt for birdie from long distance.
Yeah, and after a birdie and bogey on 11 and 12, keeping the good mojo on her side.
And the yellow shirt on Sunday, that got her to 16 under par. Here's Zhang putting for birdie on the par 314. I mean,
are you counting the number of feet that this is?
Gotta be well past 100. And down it goes. That got her to 17 under. And look at the flair, the smile. This is becoming something customary that we see on the LPGA Tour. Now, this is her second shot into the 18 over water.
And she had a couple stroke lead at this point. Her caddy says, "You want to lay up?" And she goes, "No, I'm going to directly at the pin."
Oh, what
risky,
a golf shot.
But reward is there as well.
Taking that approach shot to 10 feet. Yeah, that's worth a high five and a smile. Now setting up this eagle try.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be Hana Zhang if she didn't eagle to finish and then celebrate on top of it.
All the single ladies. Beyonce dance, a 4-shot win, 7 under 65. That was the tournament low. Her second career win at the time for the 5'5" spark plug. What a personality. And look at the resume now. 4 career LPGA Tour victories, the most recent coming earlier this season at the ISPS Honda Women's Australian Open. I guess the question, Paige McKenzie, is how does she defend? How do you go back to back?
Well, the good news for them is they're heading back to this event. The bad news for Hana Zhang is it's a different golf course.
Okay.
So that is going to be a little bit tough for her to adjust. But if you have noticed, those 4 LPGA Tour wins, Florida, Taiwan, Australia, Singapore, she can play anywhere. And she can play well anywhere. So if she continues to have that hot putter and ride the strength of her ball striking, then I don't think she'll have any trouble defending.
Best part of her game, ball striking?
It is.
Okay.
She was 3rd on the LPGA Tour last year in that statistic, been top 10 the last 2 years that she's played on the LPGA Tour. And the other thing that's important to note is not only is she hitting greens, she's knowing how to score. A lot of people are good ball strikers, but you still got to get the ball in the hole. And she led the tour last year in rounds under par on the LPGA Tour.
LPGA Tour coverage starts 10:30 p.m. tomorrow night. LT, back to you.
Someone else who knows how to score. We've been watching him in recent weeks as we turn our attention to Wesley Bryan, the PGA Tour rookie, formerly famous for pulling off trick shots with his brother, has logged his 2nd consecutive tie for 4th finish. First at the Genesis Open, then again last week at the Honda Classic. And part of that week for the 26-year-old, 3-time winner on the Web.com Tour, including co-leading after 18 and 36 holes. For now, let's turn you back to Damon Hack. Not too shabby at all for your first season on the top circuit.
Oh, not shabby at all. The Bryan Bros. Do you remember they shot to fame around 2014? YouTube sensations Wesley and George, a couple of sons of South Carolina, or South Kakalaki as our Gary Williams likes to call it. And these guys, but they're not just trick shot guys. Wesley has gone on to win 3 times on the Web.com Tour and now making his name on the PGA Tour. You spoke to their dad last night.
I did.
What'd you learn?
I did. It was a great conversation with George Sr., clearly a very proud father of both his boys. And that was amazing right there. To hit a shot out of the bunker and then to catch that out of the air with the driver is really incredible stuff. And, you know, he's a proud father. And to hear the stories that he had to tell about his kids growing up and now that they have really found their way, right? You know, the Bryan brothers has become a very successful brand in the game of golf, and now Wesley taking that a step further in his play. 3 wins on the Web.com tour and now playing very well on the PGA Tour, as we've seen 2 top 4 finishes. So it was very enlightening for me, you know, as a teacher and as a young father myself. You know, George Sr. kind of in a similar role. He's a PGA professional.
Yes.
He teaches up there in Chapin, South Carolina, and a father, and kind of balancing that out. So it was really enlightening to hear the stories. It was a lot of fun, and it's going to be really exciting to watch Wesley now as he continues his career on the PGA Tour.
You know, we just saw Hannah Zhang making a mile of putts last year in Singapore. Wesley makes a mile of putts on the PGA Tour. What's his approach to putting?
Well, you know, his approach to putting, I mean, he is a very instinctive putter. But this guy can get it done and fill it up. And there's really kind of a hidden joke in there where his, you know, tap-in range, if you will, Dan, quote unquote, can be from 6 to 8 feet. This guy is confident. He goes up, he sees it, he doesn't overthink it, and he can fill it up when he gets it going. It's the strength of his game. You kind of balance that out with his wedge game as well.
Yeah.
He's very good with the wedges, and he has to be because he's not particularly long off the tee. He can struggle with his driver from time to time, so he has to be great with his wedges. And I think we really see the creativity and really the, you know, the belief system when the putter and the wedge is in his hand. He can really fill it up.
Great putter, great chipper and pitcher of the golf ball, but the imagination for the recovery shot, that would seem to be his strength, simply watching him make all those trick shot videos.
Well, here comes the creativity. Here we go at the Honda Classic. This was a really cool shot here. And you almost get the feeling, you know, when Wesley gets in this situation, that he doesn't look at it as a negative. This is an opportunity for this guy. This could be easy for him.
That's wheelhouse.
That's right. That's easy, trying to hit a ball out of the air when George just hit it out of the bunker. But he really, I think, embraces these opportunities. He's a little bit of an old soul as far as like shot making. He likes to hit a lot of shots left to right, right to left, low, high. He doesn't have a stock shot. Something's different every time. A little Bubba Watson in him. So when he gets in these situations, I almost think that's must-watch TV when Wesley Bryan is in the trees.
How about an area for improvement? Obviously, he seems to be getting more and more comfortable on the PGA Tour.
Well, I think we see the young game right now. The mold in the young game is to hit it long off the tee and find it. And I think Wesley, you know, he's not particularly long off the tee. You know, he's about 280 off the tee, 110 miles an hour. So he's got to hit the ball in the fairway. And that was his weakness in college at South Carolina, where he really probably had his lowest times. He couldn't find it off the tee. And when we're short and you're crooked and you're trying to compete with the best players, that's difficult to do. So I think for Wesley, are there incremental gains, perhaps, you know, from a distance standpoint without messing things up? But I think more importantly, keeping the ball in front of him where he can let the iron game go to work. And as I mentioned, he can really get the wedges and the putter going. I think he's going to be around for a while. It's been a great story. I really enjoyed talking to his father, and I think we're going to see some good things out of Wesley in the future.
Sure is fun to watch, and already a social media sensation, all those YouTube videos. What other social media nuggets do we have, LT?
Well, let's start with Wesley Bryan himself. And you would think that maybe he would rest after logging 2 straight tie for 4th finishes. No, yesterday he was right back at it after finishing at the Honda Classic on Sunday. Monday, Wesley was out grinding on the course. Won't be satisfied until he gets that trophy. Might happen sooner than later if he keeps trending in this direction. Someone else, though, who was playing in a very fun event, the Seminole Pro member, was Martin Keimer. He said, fantastic day out on the course. Best views I've seen in a while. I also like this new hashtag. Forget Sunday Fun Day, Monday Fun Day on the PGA Tour for him. He wasn't the only one out there. Luke Donald, he posted 3 generations of Northwestern NU golfers fun day out at Seminole for the pro member with Eric Gleacher and Matthew Fitzpatrick. Hashtag Go Cats. Knew he would put that in there. Bud Colley, he too was out there at the event. Lived up to the hype. It was the first time playing for him in this, and he said it was a great track as well. More social media moments to come, but still ahead, there were a few twists and turns that led to the change in locations for this week's World Golf Championship in Mexico City. Tim Roseford is about to take you inside the path as the chairman for the event weighs in on how this week could pave the way for local kids to come to the game.
Once the kids get to see these players, and us to build the hero figures, if one kid could go and play a round of golf with his friends, that's it. He'd be hooked for life.